Hey guys, welcome back to CarlitoClix. I'm your host Carlito.
And I'm Dane Simpson.
Correctamundo. And today we're going to be looking at the new Justice League set. Justice League, the new 52. So we're going to be talking about the models, what they do, how they look. We're going to really touch on almost everything. From what I haven't really spoiled the set to myself on HC Realm, so hopefully this is going to be a big surprise for me. And really,
from the models that I've seen anyways, this set is going to be fantastic. You know, I've only looked at maybe 3 or 4 of the characters, and they're really good. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see.
A lot of great looking models, a lot of great figures from what I've seen so far. Great set for new players. So if you're looking to build your play group, this is the set to do it. You got someone who's kind of interested in in DC, get them hooked on this set. But we'll touch on all that later. Let's get to it. Let's open up those packs. Yeah. Alright guys, so now that we've opened up all our packs, taken a look at what we've gotten, and made a great big mess, let's take a look at the models that I pulled. I organized them into numbers, so you know, 1 to 21. And let's get started without further ado. Superman, number 1.
Boom. Always a good start.
Always a good start. One of the things that I absolutely love about this Superman, I mean, this is the way Superman should play. He starts off with Impervious. He has the special Impervious, where a friendly character within 4 squares and line of fire takes damage from an opponent's attack. After actions resolve, you may place Superman and that character in each other's squares. This power can't be countered but by characters less than 100 points. So he's helping out. He's got the Impervious that he deserves. Yep. And on top of that, it's got added protection. So you know, all those cheap characters like Constantine, just out of this set alone, Constantine, Xanadu, Batman, Batman's 100.
The Enchantress.
The Enchantress, they can't get through that, which is nice. I like that. So you know that their beat stick has to have the outwit to get through them. Another nice thing about it, say you outwit this, let's say you have that 150 point piece that outwits this, and then he takes some damage and lands on one of his Impervious clicks. Usually, if they're both Impervious, you cannot use Impervious for the turn, stated by outwit. What you get in the Impervious is actually 2 different powers, which is pretty cool, and vice versa if you're on Impervious and get knocked out of that. So if he has his beat stick hits you first, outwits and hits. Okay, so you take, you know, the 4 whatever damage, and then he's on Impervious. A cheaper model then has to actually get around that Impervious, which is pretty cool. It doesn't go away. The other thing that I really like about this guy is 7 clicks of Impervious in a row on a 204 point model.
Solid.
Yeah. Superman team ability, 6 range. So again, this is what Superman should be. I don't feel that Superman deserves 8 range myself. No. You know, limited a bit. And then once he takes damage, he stays fairly consistent the whole time. As he takes damage, then he kicks into a hypersonic piece. Whereas attack's a bit lower, but this is Superman. He ran up, he hit him. Oh crap, they're still standing. And then after he's received a bit of a wailing, that's when he starts to use his tactics. And he actually, in the middle of his dial, I should bring up, where he's not charging, and at the end when he's not being an Impervious piece, or he's not being a hypersonic piece, he actually has Gale Force Breath. He can use Force Blast. When he does, he may target an adjacent character and up to 2 characters that are adjacent to that character. After actions resolve, give the targeted character an action token if they have 0 action tokens. So it actually makes Force Blast good as well.
Yeah. That's one thing they've been doing a lot of as of recently, is making Incapacitate a much better power, essentially.
And I mean, they really
by giving action tokens and stuff like that. I really enjoy that.
They really did. I don't think that the answer is, you know, when they do some rules changes every year, I don't think the answer is changing what it does. It's just added on to different powers now that they do the clear powers. Give characters triple target with it. Make it a focal point of a model. Make them cheap or whatever. It's a couple clicks on the big Superman. But make it do something.
Yeah, not a lot of damage, but really be able to limit the number of activations that your opponent is getting and really shut them down.
And same with Force Blast, Smoke Cloud, Energy Explosion. You gotta make it worthwhile, because usually it's not.
Oh yeah, usually you're not cranking anything on there.
Yeah. Moving on.
No.
So, we had Batman. My honest opinion, I actually like the one in the Fast Forces more. This is a kind of toned down Batman. I mean, he has trait leap climb, which is pretty cool. Combine that with stealth. They gave him a good defensive opening power, toughness, and combat reflexes. You combine that up with the Batman team ability. Now he's got stealth. He's got a good attack value. He's got outwit. He's a nice 119 point piece with Indomitable. I just feel that the 100-point one is a little bit more efficient, just because, a little bit cheaper, still Indomitable.
Yeah.
I like him a little bit more. Also, he's only 10 points less than the Dark Knight Rises set. So unless you really want to play comic book Batman and have that Justice League a bit like keyword and everything, I think that you'll find yourself going for 10 more points. Can I just get the Dark Knight?
Yeah,
it's a little bit more of a beat stick.
And 2 points for me here. First of all, the model itself, the sculpt, is not my favorite. I feel like there's been a lot better Batman sculpts. And generally, most Batman sculpts are better than this one. Although
this is very 60s kind of Adam West Batman. It's classic. It's classic Batman.
Well, but it's the DC 52 set. I'm just saying it's my least favorite model out of this set.
Could have been a little nicer for sure. But straight to what the model does. So you start off as an outwitter with charge. You quickly lose outwit for some exploit weakness. The nice thing about this Batman is you can always crack impervious. That is something about this entire set from what I've seen. Pretty much every character, unless they're 50 points or less, can break invulnerable all the time.
And even then you have Enchantress.
Yeah. Well, even Enchantress can break it.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He has Flurry in the mid dials. He has Flurry with Perplex, which is nice. You can bring it out to 3 damage. And then his last clicks, he becomes a running shot incapacitate piece, got the dual target, and outwit again. So, he's a nice, well-rounded model, and he changes up nicely. I just think that there's other more efficient Batmans, because they made Batmans recently. Okay, so, next on the chopping block, we got Wonder Woman. She is an amazingly efficient, for 136 points, brick. I mean, very front-loaded. Got the neat special power, the Lasso of Truth. That's on her weaker clicks. Lasso of Truth is you give her power action. She may make a ranged combat attack that deals no damage, as if she had a range of 4. Give a hit character an action token and counter all speed and damage powers a hit character possesses until your next turn. So it's a nice support piece, but she spikes. She gets worse in the middle, better at the front end. Not much to say about her, but her first click, I'll just say, is 9 movement charge flying, 11 attack super strength, 18 defense indomitable, impervious with 4 damage. For 139 points, very efficient on the first.
And that's the really nice thing about the Trinity, DC's Trinity here. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman all have Indomitable. There's actually a lot of Indomitable in this set, which is a power that, or I guess not really a power, but trait that needs to be out there more often, I think.
It represents so many characters so well, especially in DC. And I mean, I feel like I understand that they need to be limiting with it, because you can't just give it to everyone, but there are so many characters that deserve it who don't get it, and then there are characters I don't think that deserve it that get it, and it's kind of, it's all over the place, I feel right now, but I mean, it is a great power. I love seeing it on my models, especially in that 120 point range, good, efficient hitter that you can back up in a 300 point game. Models like that, I absolutely love. Going to the Green Lantern here. Really nice sculpt, kind of the same sculpt as Ryu.
He's kind of like uppercut.
Shuriken. Not much to say about him. Very fragile. Again, can always crack impervious, whether it's just 3 damage with running shot, 2 or 1 damage with the ranged combat expert, or pulse wave. The pulse wave clicks at the very end, very low attack at that point. So you want to keep him on his front dial, but he's pretty nice because he's a 72-piece Indomitable telekinesis piece. Telekinesis. He can use barrier, incapacitate, and telekinesis all on the same click, and he has that power for 2 clicks. So, I mean, that's probably one of the cheapest TK pieces that there are. I mean, there's a couple cheaper, but he's indomitable. He's going to give you a little bit more mobility and damage.
You got to get a lot of utility out of those first 2 clicks too. You got a lot of options. There's a lot of things you're going to be able to do with him, which is great.
A tertiary attacker, a shooter, mobility, a lot of good support powers. I like him. I mean, there's not much to be said really. That is rookie Green Lantern, just to a T.
Yeah.
I think that's appropriate. Aquaman, next. Very cool model. Just to let you guys know, they have used clear plastic on every single one of these sculpts. It's kind of nice to see that. I think we're kind of out of the dark ages. I wasn't a big fan of reusing the sculpts. As we probably all know, and if you didn't, here you go. The last few Marvel sets were meant to be smaller sets, but they ended up filling them out to make them 60-figure sets or whatever they were. Some of them were bigger, some of them were smaller. And so what you ended up seeing was a lot of reuse sculpts and a lot of bland sculpts that were easy to pump up fast. They're definitely upping the quality that I would expect out of NECA.
Especially on characters like Constantine and
Deathstroke
yeah.
And Flash. I mean, we'll get to them, but they all look really good. All using all the really cool clear plastics, at least a bit. And they're all just dynamic, good-looking sculpts.
Yeah.
Now, Aquaman here has a really cool trait called Defending Mara. If Aquaman occupies water terrain at the beginning of an action, he modifies his speed value by +2. If a friendly character named Mara has been killed this game, modify his combat values by +1. Now, we're going to get to Mara later. She's a super cheap piece that if she does take damage, you pretty much don't want her alive anymore. She's very fragile. So that's really cool. And he's only 111 points. So he is you can fit a lot with him. You can fit him and the Mara and some other stuff together, and they work all really well.
Well, and that's a really great thing that we're seeing a little bit more of with, I think it was Hawkeye and Mockingbird in Chaos War. And so we're seeing a lot more of trying to get people to use 2 models together
Good
for that very, thematic.
Yeah, which is cool because I think that theme teams, if they were able to, theme teams are usually pretty competitive when they are like the good ones, but making it, encouraging even competitive play to be able to use theme teams, I think is a really cool way of making the game very interactive, very fun, very different, very cool. Aquaman, much like Wonder Woman and Superman, really is a cheap, well, not like Superman, but like Wonder Woman, is a cheap brick. Unlike Wonder Woman, he doesn't have the Indomitable, unfortunately. Doesn't have the opening Impervious. It's only invulnerable. And his stats are a little bit lower because of the Defending Mara trait. However, he's a little bit more consistent and sustainable. As he starts off with Charge, Super Strength, Invulnerable, Leadership, which is decent. And then as he takes damage, he turns into a Charged Blazer with Combat Reflexes. And then in the end dials getting Close Combat Expert. So he's not quite as good, and I'm not a huge fan, but I think he still represents what a rookie Aquaman should look like. And that's a lot of the models in this set. They aren't the big, super powerful versions, because this is obviously taking it back to basics with the new 52. This is the reboot. So you're not going to see 200-point Batman like that's coming out. That's just not going to happen. It's not what the set's for. You're getting good, cheap, efficient pieces.
Yeah. Now, when we start talking about our next figure here, Cyborg, I really want to touch on one of the, I'm not sure if it's a trait or ability that he has, but it's the trait where he just ignores stealth. I always love characters who do that because I just hate stealth. It pisses me off to no end when somebody's army. This guy, he plays entire stealth armies, and so it just eliminates the entire range. Yeah,
he is amazing. He's got decent attack, and for 100 points, you're getting an indomitable piece. He's got a decent attack value. Starts off with the average 10. He takes a damage, goes up to 11. So he's pushable. I love this. Anytime it's seen on a model, first click, I'm sold. Running shot, pulse wave.
Yeah.
That's enough said for me. Otherwise, it's not invulnerable. Opening defense isn't super good. Ignores character stealth, so it's not as good as the Superman team ability. We just ignore hindering terrain. But on a 100-point model, to have those opening powerful powers, get the trait, so you're always going to have it be indomitable. Absolutely amazing. And you know what?
And as you touched on there, he has the indomitable, and then you said he goes up to an 11 attack on his second click there. So you have options. You can either just go with him, or you can choose to push him and take the damage to go up to that 11 attack.
If you do take the damage though, you do lose the mobility, and you gain poison, weaker power.
Yeah.
But the 11 attack for 3 damage is still very good, so you can get it, position, take the damage. He can take a beating. He is sustainable. His middle dials are a little bit weaker. They still have pulse wave though. He has it goes pulse wave, poison, poison, pulse wave, which is nice. So I mean, even in those clicks where he's hurting a bit, he still has the damage to do mass damage if he's only within range of a certain model, like one of their bigger guys. Just take him right out, which is really cool. And then on his later clicks, he gets regen on indomitable models. I'm usually not a big fan, but regen on indomitable models makes it much more worth it. So I'm okay with it. I think regen does need a bit of a revamp.
Yeah, definitely.
But when it's on indomitable characters, a little more easier to justify. Green Arrow, not too much to say about him. I like his trait, best shot in the biz. Green Arrow modifies his attack value by +2 when targeting a single character within 5 squares with a ranged combat attack. So if he's close, he has a 13 attack. Can't complain about that. He's got running shot, triple target energy explosion. Super cool. Willpower, ranged combat expert, so you can do 4 damage when he's standing still. Late dial. Falls off the cliff a bit, but gets stealth. And he also gets the flurry of arrows, allowing him to basically have flurry with ranged combat attacks because he's sharpshooter even in melee.
Yeah. And we talked about this character a little bit before, and really his shtick is coming in with the energy explosion triple target, which could be really big. But as we talked about beforehand, you're going to always be comparing him with Hawkeye.
Yeah, for 3 more points, I think Hawkeye's better. Having the stealth, having a straight up better opening attack, being a wild card, having a Thunderbolt's ATA, having better opening damage. Even though it's not range combat expert, it's still just opening 3, which is good. As he takes damage, he gets the triple target energy explosion. So, and he's still got 11 attack when he gets it, I'm pretty sure. So I think for 3 more points, you're just gonna, unless you're playing keyword, there's not really a reason. I think you'll be asking the questions like, why would I play him over Hawkeye? Also, another point to add, he's the only model that doesn't have clear plastic.
Yeah, it's true. But he does have the really nice wall in behind him. It's still, a really good looking model, really good looking pose.
Still dynamic looking pose. I like it. Now Mara, we already kind of talked about her and how she cannot take damage, which is true. Very fragile piece. But she's got a really cool trait, Sorceress of the Deep. Mara may target opposing characters within 6 squares that occupy or are adjacent to water terrain with close combat attacks. So that's pretty cool. She can shoot if you're in water. And Aquakinesis, so for 51 points, she can use Telekinesis. If she uses Telekinesis to place an opposing character that occupies water terrain, she gets +3 attack.
Oh, wow.
So she can really,
you can set up a kill box really nice with that.
Yeah, her and Aquaman on the Guardians of the Galaxy map that has that huge block of water in the middle and the little trail can potentially be pretty good and nice and thematic. She's cheap, goes with Aquaman well. I like it. So next, let's do a 2-parter here, Firestorm and Firestorm. Already, just to say, I'll go through both, but I'm not a big fan of the 95.1. I think for 10 more points, the other one is a fair bit better. Starting off with the 95.1. So they both have the ability to merge. And they merge into this fellow over here, Fury, who we'll get to later. So the 95.1 here is phase and teleport, pulse wave, no indomitable, so you do have to take the turns to set up. However, He's a flyer, so you're usually going to keep him in hindering for the most part. He's got 17 defense with energy shield deflection, so 20 defense, if he's standing in that hindering. So he has good defenses, and he has the power, wrong card, he has the power to disable your weaponry. Fire sprint piece probability control once per turn when he is attacked. When he does, if the reroll attack is a critical hit, he may use probability control another time.
Wow.
It's nice just based on, it's a weak probability control, but when you're thinking about it from a defense standpoint, to just set up the shot for a pulse wave or even shooting, it's really nice to have. Yeah. Immediately when he takes damage, he drops an attack and then picks it back up again, and he goes into a running shot double target energy explosion piece. And then as he takes damage, he goes into ranged combat expert, and then if he takes even more damage, those last two clicks, 6 and 7, he becomes a perplex piece. I said I wasn't a big fan, but honestly, I think I will give him a shot. I really haven't played them. I like how he changes it up, gives you some options as he takes damage, can start supporting the troops, supporting the team and everything. I don't think either one will be in particularly tournament level, but definitely worth giving a shot, especially together. Very thematic. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan. The reason I really like this one over the cheaper one is the opening running shot and ranged combat expert, who does more damage, has the 17 defense, flying, energy shield deflection, but gives you the running shot. So you're going to get that alpha strike, do 3, and if he's still around the next turn, shoot for 5.
Yeah. You get those options.
He still doesn't have the Indomitable. Immediately after he takes the damage, he loses the ranged combat expert, but picks up perplex. So that's really cool. So he's pushable. You can push him into becoming a support piece for what you need. So if you run in and shoot, and then you can shoot for 5, and then you take that damage. Oh, now a perplex piece. Let's perplex up my defense, perplex down your damage. If you've done a lot of damage, a lot of options with him. And then when he takes more damage on clicks 4 and 5, he wins a hypersonic piece. Not a particularly powerful hypersonic piece, but a hypersonic piece.
He's probably better than most Marvel hypersonic pieces.
Probably. And then last but not least, the last 2 clicks, where his attack really drops, he becomes an incapacitator, but still has the double target.
Yep.
So still have some options there. And I'm sure we're going to retouch on them in a moment because we're going to have to get to Fury.
Yeah.
But moving on, so we're not boring y'all. Hawkman, super cool model, probably my favorite model in the set.
He's got, honestly, those are probably the nicest wings I think we've seen out of a model in a long time.
Yeah.
Just
these are
really
super
solid
nice.
Looking.
The sculpt is really cool, just flying in there. He's got the cool weaponry,
He's
the
got
Wolverine claw.
He's got the flying plastic swoosh that we see a lot, but
But it's effective and it makes sense.
Yeah, it lets us know that he flies.
One of the downsides of this set, it's an awesome set, and I'm running out of room in my tackle box to fit more models, and all these models are huge.
Yep.
So I don't know how the hell I'm going to fit them in my tackle box. It's going to be tough, but I'll fight and make it work. Has a really cool power, dive bomb. He can use charge, and when he uses charge, if you're on a lower elevation than the elevation that he started his movement on, it's +1 attack and +1 damage, allowing a 95-point indomitable piece to go up to 11 attack for 4 damage.
Yep.
That's huge. That's really cool. I'm thinking myself, the Bizarro world map, where there's 4 different elevations. Yeah. It's a confusing map, so you can even almost trick your opponent into lining that shot up if you're positioning well and willing to take the time and treat it like a chess match. You can set that attack up very easily.
And this is sort of the second model in this set that we talked about that really takes advantage of different types of terrain, because it's something that we see a little bit of here and there, like hindering and blocking.
But it's mostly just with hindering.
But really do like to see more of the stuff with elevation. So things like the Spider-Man that we saw a couple sets ago, this stuff, it's really solid stuff.
It's done very well. Another point, opening 17 defense with energy shield deflection.
Yeah.
So you can take that time to line up the shot and have a really nice defense.
Yeah. Hard to crack that.
Yeah. And then as he pushes, again, another pushable model. When he pushes, you get that charge in. He gets 11 attack, 3 damage, close combat expert, and 17 defense combat reflexes. So he switches gears immediately, which is nice.
Yeah.
He charges in, he hits, and if they got a high attack after they take the damage, choose to take that pushing damage, get a 19 defense in melee, and then start giving them a whooping. And
well,
that's
one of the things we talked about before is that what makes a really good model, especially if you're looking at primary or secondary attackers, is can you push them? And for this guy, it's yes.
Yes. Near the end of his click, he does fall off a cliff. There's a few clicks where he cannot break the invulnerable, but gains flurry. So if
you get a couple shots at it.
If you've got that alpha strike, knock them off, and they're on toughness or super senses or anything like that, now you can start taking them down with double attacks. And he stays consistent. He pretty much always has an 11 or 10 attack. Only a couple clicks a 9, and on like a 7 clicks. He's got a pretty deep dial too. 8 clicks. Yeah. So that's pretty huge. I mean, I would, on a model that's less than 100 points, I'm expecting
6
on their last click, like 8 attack, 14 defense regen or something like that. I don't expect much, but he's giving you more than what he's worth, which is nice.
Oh, yeah, definitely.